Shut up and sit down.
I've become kind of famous for my signature catchphrase, whammy!
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von During. Do you know what is the hardest part of learning to ride a bike? The pavement. Enjoy episode 91.
I'm all about having fun. Maybe go to SeaWorld, take my pants off.
Take it easy, champ. Why don't you stop talking for a while?
Maybe sit the next couple plays out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna quit saying things when they crop up there, the old skull, huh?
The mall is now reducing Black Friday prices to 96% off to the first 100 people inside the mall. This is going to be a f***ing bloodbath, Tom. There will be medical tents, ambulances, face painting. No doubt a lot of people you know and love are going to die.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dialed Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and today I'm here with Lance Hepler.
Lance Romance in studio.
Always good to have you in studio.
Whammy.
Oh,
whammy.
Oh.
Whammy.
Your sports. Oh, that's a nice intro.
Should we do that?
It's got a nice ring to it.
Champ Bailey here.
Chance Hepler.
Just all of a sudden he grows his facial hair and he starts talking way too much about sports and Anchorman.
I like to go to SeaWorld, take my pants off.
Anybody listen to this who actually gets that reference, like, more power to you.
That would be awesome. I think we might have a new thing here.
No,
This is why we need to just have the mics on, like, prior to the podcast, because nobody even gets what we're talking about when we start this intro.
They will soon enough.
Dialed after hours.
Yes.
I love that idea. Yeah.
Champ Bailey's right. Evan Price.
Brick. I am drinking. This is. What is this tea that I'm drinking here, Jake? It's delicious.
It's not actually even tea. It's coffee.
Like coffee.
It's organic coffee in a tea bag, and you just steep it like you would tea.
It's so good.
It's pretty stinking good, huh?
I want to try some.
I'm going to mispronounce it. What is it? Tisano?
Sure. Sounds good.
Teeccino.
Yes. Yeah.
It's great.
It's good
that is
stuff.
delicious.
Maybe I'll have to get up and run to the kitchen and get some more stuff for you guys when you're talking about triathlon stuff in your Backpedal.
Matt, what are you drinking here?
This is just regular coffee, non-Ticino.
Non-Ticino coffee.
Non-Ticino. I think it's Hidden Rivers Roasters, little blend, decaf blend.
Matt's favorite place.
Yep.
Got some Monster Energy drink in that tea bag too for Lance.
Yeah.
What does Lance have in the
right
car?
now.
You never bring in your energy drinks into here.
No.
He's embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed. It's my secret shame.
It is totally.
That the whole world knows about now.
This is why it takes 5 minutes to get in there every single time. Just shamelessly drinking his Monster.
Yeah.
To Evan's right, the one and only Matt the Grand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? It's good to hear from you guys.
As are you.
Do they look pretty good?
The people across the airwaves are looking good.
The airwaves are looking
They're
nice.
looking good.
I was looking good, yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Jump into the Backpedal. Matt, I'm going to start with you
Sure.
today.
Yeah.
Backpedal for us.
Been doing a little running. I ran with I ran with the one, the only, the Evan Price.
Wow.
And
To
I
my
ran
left.
with the one and only Matt LeGrand. It was great.
So to begin with, yesterday I ran 3 miles with my 7-year-old, and he had big plans to run to his school and then run home, which is a 4-mile run. We got to about 1.5 miles, and he just realized that it was too far. And then he just started crying, and then he cried the rest of the run home.
It's a problem with out and backs.
It was tough.
Once you
It was a
get
tough day.
out,
Yep, gotta
you
get back.
gotta come back.
Gotta get back. And then after that, I ran with Evan Price, and then I was the one crying.
No,
You cried all the way back.
We stayed nice and comfortable. We solved a lot of world problems.
We
Me
always
and
do.
Matt solve a lot of world problems on
Yes.
our runs. We
Always
really do.
good. Yep. And then, on Tuesday, I rode with the group, the Dialed team, on the Zwift team ride.
Oh, yeah.
That was excellent, getting better on the bike here and there. And a lot of swimming, pretty much swimming, I'd say 4 or 5 days a week,
That's good.
as time allows for it. And it's good. Things are good. Life is great. You know what I did this week that was amazing was Pilates.
I was going to bring this
Yeah,
up.
you did.
With the one, the only Jake Von During. But I'll let Jake tell that story in his Backpedal. But I'll just say that it was excellent.
I'm excited to hear about clothing choice.
Yeah.
And conversations had during, prior.
There was a moment where we're both on those. What are the machines for Pilates called?
Reformer.
And it was like, okay, do I get on my bad shoulder and Jake gets on his bad shoulder because we have both have busted shoulders, but they're opposite shoulders. And it was like, yes. And then we'll be looking into each other's eyes while we're doing our exercise on the machines. And I was like, this is a magical moment. This is a magical moment.
She's like, you're gonna do this one really slow. I'm like, Matt, I'm just gonna do this staring deep into your eyes, man, deep into those baby blues.
But I will say the Pilates was perfect, and I was really worried that it was going to be a little overwhelming and that I was going to be sore the next day. And that was like my main goal was like, don't overdo it. And I don't think that we overdid it.
No, I don't even need to save this for my back. We'll just talk about it now.
Yep.
It was like the perfect amount.
Yep.
And I was in the same boat. I was worried that I'm not going to overdo it from like I'm going to get too sore, but like actually hurt myself or have it be something that I'm just not able to do for my shoulder. Because as we all know, and if you don't remember, I was hit by a car about a year and a half ago, and I'm still dealing with the after effects of that.
Right.
There's a lot of nerve damage in there, and the shoulder itself is still like not fully healed, and there's a lot of stuff that I need to do. So that was like the driving purpose behind wanting to go and do Pilates is to kind of take a different approach to the home exercise stuff that Evan graciously helped me out with for a lot of months, if not almost years.
I think actually, I just wish that Jake had gotten in the pool with you, but I think that Jake would have to learn how to swim well first. Pilates is
that
awesome
would be so ugly.
I know.
You guys could sell tickets to that event. But Pilates,
same idea between Pilates and swimming.
The Pilates was perfect, and like I did get sore, but it was a good kind of sore everywhere. It was like a full body workout, and there's a lot of areas I'm like, I've been knowing that I needed to work on some of these other things, like in my hips and my core, and it hit all of that stuff, and I did get very sore. My shoulder, because I'll get to this in just a moment. We did a long ride after that. That was about as much as my shoulder could take for a day, given all those exercises for an hour and change, and then jumping on a 45-mile bike ride.
That was your birthday, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
You can just jump right into your Backpedal. You might as well.
Yeah,
I suppose I could. So we did the Pilates stuff, and like Matt said, it was perfect. And then jumped on the bike and did a 45-mile bike ride with Lance and Tonk, which was fun. Kind of ride your age kind of thing that I've done every single year except for last year. I had to do it on a trainer, but
you still did it last year. You just did
on the trainer though.
Still counts.
Yeah, sort of. It's just not the same.
I
since I've moved to the Pacific Northwest, it has rained on my birthday every single year.
Has it?
Until this past year. Now the roads were wet, but I don't think
we didn't get rain.
I don't think I saw a single drop of rain, which was fantastic.
Wow.
And for all of the years that I've ever done this birthday ride, this is the first year that people came along with me. I just don't really broadcast. I don't put it out there, hey, everybody come ride with me on my birthday. I've just never done that. And then Lance figured it out, and Tonk wanted to come in too, and they showed up.
We weren't really invited. We just showed up.
As with many things for Lance.
That's right. Jake said he's going to ride at noon for his birthday. I'm going to go.
I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there.
He's like, I didn't even text you I was going to ride.
So, that was a fun time. I had a good workout in there, and I had to yell at Hepler a few times about getting off of it.
I was trying to save myself for the race this weekend, but
which you'll get into in just a moment. So other than that, I did the team ride with Matt on Zwift. It was a good team ride. Zwift changed something with their keep everybody together rubber band thing, and it really slowed the ride down. Like we were like going painfully slow on that ride, like probably 3, maybe 4 miles an hour slower, because it averages out everybody's ability or speed and whatnot. And we had a junior with us, which is fine. We wanted that.
Does it change the watt numbers then, or is it just change the speed?
It's just the speed.
You're still doing the same work.
Okay,
so
then,
theoretically, it doesn't really matter, but you're just not covering the distance. And it's pretty close. I think you go a little bit faster in Zwiftland than you do in real world.
Yeah, you definitely
But when you're riding in a group and you're expecting to cover a certain amount of distance, we look down, and part of it, like the length of the ride was based on miles, not time. So it did take us about an extra 15 minutes to finish the ride because of that. So we won't be using that feature anymore, you guys.
Can you just adjust it just to be time-based?
No, I don't think so.
It's weird because it doesn't kick in until you fall way off the back.
Right.
Yeah. It was very odd, I found. I mean, I think it's a good thing if people are kind of close. Like, I don't know if the triathlon group is using it, but it might be perfect for that group. I just think it depends on the group.
Yeah.
So.
We had some strong Cat 2-3 people on that ride, and then we had a junior who's, I think, 12 or 11 or 12 on that ride. and there's a big disparity there. So it
between
really slowed the
Jordan
group.
and a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit, yeah.
And I played with it as well. I actually fell off the back on purpose because I wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And like you'd be kind of going a little bit slower than everybody, and you go over a hill, and the group would start to speed up, and all of a sudden it would slingshot you.
Yeah.
And I was laughing because there was a guy that was just free riding, and he was trying to stay on my wheel to get a draft. I'm like, that's fine. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we came over that little crest, and it slingshot me, and I went from 18 to 28 miles an hour in like. It must have been like a second or two. It was like
Hyper speed.
He just took off, and that guy's probably looking at my avatar going, "What the hell?"
I'm wondering if you could do that, like time it with a sprint on Zwift.
Oh,
Just
because
blow out of the water.
it does pull you back up to the group, and it almost slingshots you past the group.
Yeah, it
so
does.
yeah,
You could grab every green jersey, just time it for the sprint, have somebody lay down a hard effort, everybody falls on its back,
weird
and it
if you're
springs.
if you're in the back of the group, it doesn't help you. You have to fall off the back. I don't know. We'd have to look at. I bet you some Zwift engineers like the algorithm works like this. You have to be,
But they recently changed that. It was like within the last 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. That's
Okay.
what somebody was saying. So
Gotcha.
changed it for the worse, though, in my opinion. I would rather see the group roll at its pace, and then it just give extra assistance to the person who's going really slow, so that they're riding. They're still getting their workout, but I don't like the direction they took that. But is what it is, and we will be back at it next, tomorrow night on Tuesday, which will be yesterday when you're listening to this. But every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, that's when we're doing our group ride.
Yeah.
It will be a fun ride, but that rubber band feature, the keep everybody together feature, will not be on for that particular
Did
ride.
you get out this weekend at all?
I rode on the trainer both days. I was, again, busy with soccer and sports and family and all that other fun stuff.
Not a
and
great
then,
weather weekend either, honestly.
yeah, I went out and watched a cyclocross race that happened yesterday. It was the last race of the Cross Crusade, and took my son out there who wanted to go out there and race. It was awesome.
Did he end up racing?
Yeah,
He did, yeah.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah, I was telling him about the race, and he's done with baseball now. He's like, Dad, can I do that race? I'm like, yeah, actually you can. Because I don't see any reason why not.
Absolutely.
It's just so cool to see a young person. Like, I feel like, I'm always talking to my kids about, here, you should try this, and they're just not that interested. Barrett is into it.
Yeah,
He's like, yes, please.
Anytime anybody ever invites him to do something, even if it's something he's never done or he knows he's terrible at, he says yes every single time because he just wants to go out and experience it. So
That's cool.
It's awesome to watch his like curiosity kick in and his like wanting to be a better cyclist kick in. It's really quite fun.
I think, you had him on a mountain bike on the cyclocross. I think that's better than the cross bike because I think it's going to be easier for him to handle.
Yeah.
And he's less likely to have that like, oh, my first cyclocross race, I crashed and I don't really like cyclocross, right? Where it's like now he's going to be like, oh, I like cyclocross. I had a good time. I stayed upright. And I know if I switch bikes, I can go faster.
Yeah. Well, you got a 10-year-old after the race. And, Dad, I think that the mountain bike was probably a good choice for me to come in because, of the mud. But, like, after, like, going through the race, that was wrong bike choice, Dad. Wrong bike choice. Picked up way too much mud. It was too heavy. It was
tire pressure was at least one PSI down.
Yeah, I was watching a Matt LeGrand video. He was talking about the PSI.
But it's fun to watch him kind of break it down,
into it.
doing like a little post-race recap. I'm like, I love this. This is great. Yeah. So, and it's fun taking him to the races, and he gets to go out there and hang out with the other kids. We've got a lot of kids on our team now. It's fantastic going. He's got like a built-in, like, not support group, but like a peer group that he can hang out there with.
Does he like the other kids from the team?
Yeah.
Awesome.
They all chit chat, and
because that at that age, I feel like is sometimes the biggest barrier. Is I mean, like, why did you play sports as a kid? Because your friends were there. Yeah.
I started running.
So,
I started running because my friends did it. I didn't even care. I was like, sure, whatever.
Yeah. That was the only reason I hung out with the track and cross country kids and ran with them is because my friends did. So
my friends did it.
Yeah.
And even the older kids, I'm so proud of them. They will take the time to go to the younger ones and like kind of talk shop with them and encourage them. And they're out there like, when they're all queued up to get ready to start racing, they're like cheering each other on and wishing them luck. And then they'll see each other out on the course and they're like, go Barrett, have fun. So that part's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Got to watch Epler out there race. That was fun. I'll let him tell his story.
We'll get to
Whammy. Whammy.
How's your race? Whammy.
Let me ask you about Barrett's race because there was a shower that blew through midday and it changed the course drastically. It
did.
Made it very, very difficult, muddy, thick, not soupy but like peanut butter thick. Yeah. And that made it really hard. Did he deal with that okay? I thought that would have discouraged a lot of kids.
He didn't get discouraged, but he definitely noticed a difference. His bike probably increased in weight by at least 50% because so much mud was glomming onto the bike, to the drivetrain, to the stays, to the stanchions, everything. There was mud everywhere on that bike. When we got home, because we went to go wash it off after the race, and the line was like 25 minutes. So I'm like, I'm just going to do this at home. It took me forever to not only clean his bike, but then to like spray down my driveway because there was so much mud and grass that was like bound up to the bike. Poor Kylie Hanel, like she had to get off her bike and run it to the finish because the rear wheel would not turn. Like you probably, I'm not kidding you. You probably had to put about.
Her jockeys were just like so muddy Shane can't even turn over.
I was just joking, saying, you probably have to put an extra 200 watts in this at the race, but no joke, you probably would have put closer to like 200 watts to turn the back wheel just to get it to move through. And when it's doing that, you don't want to ride it because you're going to tear up everything in the bike. And it was mostly like the wheels and whatnot just getting bound up in there.
Oh my god, Lance is showing me a picture right now. That is,
we'll post it to the.
I can't even tell it's a bike. Like that just looks like like a. It's like a fence.
But it was funny.
Mud in it.
This is my bike. Yeah.
I saw her pushing her bike over to get the get in line for the pressure wash, and like she's pushing it, and the back tire was just skidding as she's pushing it. So I'm like, oh, Kylie, I'm so sorry. That sucks.
She's good. She does well, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does really well. Yeah, our juniors are doing so well, and
that's awesome.
It's just getting started with our juniors. Evan and I have got so many things planned for these kids. It's not even funny.
It's just the first generation of this group. I mean, it really is. Like, there's just the first group coming through.
And our board of directors is super pumped. We've got a lot of people that want to get plugged into the junior development program. It's going to be something special, I think. So
absolutely,
should be fun. So that was my week. Yep, Backpedal.
Well, this is the one we need to hear. Let's do this.
First of all, I did go on Jake's birthday ride uninvited, which was a great day.
I'm happy you showed up. I think I might have to start advertising my birthday next year because that was more fun than.
It was just nice. We kept it flat, and it was mostly for my benefit because I was trying not to overdo it before my race, whatnot. So, but we had the last race in the Cross Crusade series out on Savi's Island at Kruger's Farm. And in the 50-plus race, it was funny. I got there really early and did several pre-ride laps so I could kind of familiarize myself with the course. And by the time that my race started, the course had completely changed because of the rain that came through.
What time was your start?
My start was at 11:20.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with that. Like when the course completely changes between your warm-up, I mean, that's tricky because like you've already thought about which lines you want to take, and not only that, but like tire selection, tire pressure, all that stuff's. I mean, tire pressure, I guess you can adjust, but maybe like everything else feels kind of locked in. Where you're like, oh, I put on my slicks today because the conditions are perfect. Right. Oh wait, no, they're not. No. You know.
Yeah, it got way muddier. Like it got completely rutted out. One of the things I would have done because it got so muddy, and it wasn't like soupy mud. It was this thick like concrete mixed with grass mud where if I had known that was going to be the case, I would have put a teammate in the pit to help me
just swap every lap.
Just to help me swap every lap.
Yep.
Because what happened is my race was 4.5 laps.
Okay.
And by the second lap, my rear derailleur was not shifting because it was so caked with mud.
Yeah.
And not only was it not shifting, but the spring was catching so that it would not stay in the same gear. It was clicking, forth, and slipping. And so, I mean, I'm like, okay, I'm going to ride this bike until I snap the derailleur hanger, and then I'll switch. But, what I should have done is
had someone just
somebody
in the
pit and swapped.
Now, we did have teammates in the pit that were doing that for certain people. What were they doing? Like when they would receive a bike, obviously they'd send them out on the other one, but what were they doing to clean the bike? Just like using like a brush or something like that to get as much crap off?
So in the following races, I stayed in the pit for like Chris Surratt.
Yeah.
And I swapped bikes with him
more
like
important
3 times.
People.
Yes.
Like more important.
More important ones than me. I stayed in the pit.
Call it what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what I had a pair of surgical gloves on, like a pair of rubber gloves.
Yep.
And I had a
dental tools
brush. There was no hose in the pit.
Yeah.
But I had a brush and a towel. And so he would come in and I would clean the drive chain, clean all the mud off the wheels as best I can, just without water. and it literally would take 8 or 10 pounds off the bike because it had so much mud on it. And then I would wait for him, and then he'd swap bikes, and I would clean that one, and then swap back with him. And so
he also had about 4.5 laps, right? For Chris. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's a lot of cleaning.
Same thing. So that's
a lot of mud.
What would have helped.
I wonder if there's some sort of contraption that you could build that would like fully, like you can't fully enclose, but like mostly enclose the entire drivetrain, so it's all like just not exposed to that kind of stuff. So it could.
I don't know. One of the things that would have helped would like take the chain guard off. That like on your front derailleur, if you have a 1x system,
it's gunked up.
That's where it was grabbing onto, and then it would just kind of like pile on top of it and
so
get
if
worse.
You took the chain guard off so that it wouldn't catch as much there, that was one thing that we could have done.
You could make something that just kind of covers that front area, almost like it looks like it would be like an aerodynamic benefit. But
yeah,
like,
exactly.
So
that's what I was thinking.
The mud's kicking up, certain direction. But it's not coming from the sky down, right?
Yeah,
so
and
it's like
just spray like Teflon spray or something like that all over.
That's the other thing. You can coat your bike with WD-40.
Mud's like straight
and
off.
The mud won't stick as much if you coat your bike with WD-40. I didn't do any of these things because it changed so much in like a 45-minute period of time.
Was that because it was that misting rain, and that's why it got more cake muddy?
Yes.
Yeah, because it was like
it didn't get
it was
super
a crazy
wet.
foggy morning too.
It was like a heavy drizzle,
so foggy,
light rain, but it wasn't for a long period of time, so it never got soupy.
Yeah,
it was like 40 minutes.
It was
and
like
then
water was
stopped.
just hanging in the air. It wasn't even like it was raining. It was just like you were walking through rain. Yeah, it was weird.
So it made it difficult, but. So what happened during the race? I got a call up because I was 7th in the series, and I ended up being right on the front row, which was fantastic for me. So got a pretty good start and stayed there were 2 guys that I couldn't quite stay with, and me and another guy were kind of chasing them down, and then there were ruts all over, like thick, deep ruts, and the guy in front of me just, sometimes the rut just throws you off your bike, and it happened. The guy just did that right in front of me.
You rode over him?
I just rode right over the top.
No survivors.
Most of these guys are like 150 pounds, and I'm like 178 right now. I've lost a few pounds lately.
Good job,
That
Lance.
That's good lean racing weight. Yeah.
But because I'm so much heavier, I can carry momentum through that mud stuff. And so I was able to get around him, and then I just gapped him. And I ended up just kind of pounding through the race, and I ended up 3rd.
That's amazing.
I took
Best
3rd.
Cross Crusade result ever, right?
My best crusade
By far.
by far ever.
Yeah,
I've never been in a
fantastic.
race that big. There were 60 people in our race, and I made the podium.
Is podium top 3?
Podium's top 3.
That's pretty cool.
So, although Cross Crusade quit doing podiums at the races several years ago,
That's
so I didn't get the podium picture.
Lame, but we'll
could
get
make
into that
one.
later.
We'll
Yeah.
That's another
Photoshop that,
story.
no problem.
Well, what I should have done and is just grab the 2 guys and had the 3 of us take a picture. But I actually never saw him after the race.
Yeah.
So
There was a guy that came up to you. I think I was somewhat close to you, and he's like, "Were you the guy that was riding in front of me?" And like you basically paced him around the whole thing and like drug him around, and he was so like emphatic about how much you helped him, which was awesome. But I heard him tell that story to someone else later on when you and even were there. He he comes up to some guy wearing a down kit and he starts talking about, this guy, I think his name's Lance. He just towed me around the whole time. And was he in your race or was he at 35?
Not. He was in 35.
That's what I was
plus.
thinking.
Yeah.
So it was funny just listening to that.
Yeah, I came around him with like a lap to go, and he was able to stay with me.
Yeah.
So
he's like, man, that guy could motor. He just like didn't break his form. He just kept plowing through everything, and he was like the perfect pace car to sit behind.
Yeah, because he was riding single gear.
That's right. We all kind of were. Yeah. So I was super stoked to finally make the podium. The only way I was able to do that finally is because like 5 of the super fast guys didn't show up to the race. So
couple things.
Got to show up to win.
Congratulations on that particular race.
Thank you.
Congratulations on Cross Crusades. Congratulations on cyclocross as a whole for the season, which I know it's not technically over because there's other stuff. You can go to nationals. There's all kinds of neat stuff that you can do. But you've had a good season. You should be very happy.
I'm thrilled with how my season has gone. It's
pretty cool.
It's been my best cyclocross season, by far. And part of the fun reason was what made it so good is because I'm finally in a category that I know I'm going to stay in. Mm-hmm. and it was super motivating for that. Whereas racing as a Cat 3 or racing as a Cat 4, I knew if I raced really well, I'd get upgraded.
Yeah.
And so, but the 50 plus is open category, so it doesn't matter what category you are. So that made a difference. But
this is, I mean, you think about just by the numbers. I mean, let alone by obviously the results going into this year, like just the numbers in yourself, like racing so much strong. And I mean, I even think of now, like if you and me were going to go on a ride together and do a longer climb, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago when we first met, would be a very different ride than it is now.
True.
Like a night and day different ride. Like I was just talking with Tonk about this with you recently. And Tonk's like, yeah, Lance can actually Lance is in that climbing group now. Like there's
I don't know about that, but I'm closer.
You are in, if there was a dialed climbing echelon, you're in the chase group is what I would say.
I would be in the chase group. I wouldn't be off the back. I'd be in the chase group.
Which is, I mean, just by the numbers is a huge gain in fitness over the last 2 years, probably. Just putting it as a 2-year,
well, thank you.
progression. It's awesome to watch.
It's been
Lance's
exciting.
third place yesterday carried a little bit of weight, not for just himself. You want to talk about the team competition and why that's so important?
I actually don't know the answer to this yet. So,
Dialed Cycling, we had a 22-point lead on Deschutes Brewery going into this final race. Deschutes didn't have a big turnout at this last race, and we had a huge turnout. And by my calculations, it's like golf, so whoever has the lowest score wins. We, I think, scored 21 points yesterday.
Wow.
And this is your top 10 placers for the whole team.
And if you only have 8, and let's say those last 2 spots, they get the maximum number of points. That's the biggest penalty, which is 100 points.
It's 100 points, yeah. If you don't field 10 people.
Right.
So we had 21 points, and I believe that Deschutes had 53 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 53 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So
I'm kind of correlating this to cross country because it's similar scoring.
Yeah, similar
but it's
scoring,
not, but it's not because you could technically have a lower score than 15.
Right.
So, but yeah, still 53 is good.
Yeah, so we should have won. It's not official yet.
Unofficial,
but unofficial. We won the team competition for the
Cyclocross.
Cross Crusade.
For Cross Crusade.
By a fair margin, too.
It'll be by almost 50 points.
And then next year you guys all get call-ups.
Yeah, what means is our team as a whole will get call-ups in every race for the whole series.
Nice. So we can
not just.
I was about to say. So now me and Matt are going to race.
take
I was just waiting for you guys to get the call-ups for us, so that I don't have to suck.
So what they do is they call up the first 15 people. In the overall in the series individually, and then they do the team call-up, and then they do the numbers, the random call-ups after that. So if you don't have a call-up, you'll still be, as a Dialed Cycling member, you'll still be in the
top 20% or so.
Yeah, you'll be like in the second or third row.
That's good.
Yeah, so which is fantastic.
It looks like we have to jump into one Cat 5 race
just to
next
put
year.
this into perspective, these races are so big that if you get one of those bad numbers that kind of gets drawn to be the last number to come up, those are called beer numbers.
Yeah.
You want to tell people why that's called a beer number, Lance?
If you're the very last number that's called up, which means you're at the very back of the field, starting at the back, you get a free 6-pack of beer because
there's no chance.
There's really no chance you're not going to make it to the field. So they want to give you something, so you get a free 6-pack.
So pretty much you get to go right on the course and you get a 6-pack of beer because you got no chance of being in contention.
So what you're telling me is because of you guys now, I don't have a chance to get beer number.
No, you will not have a beer number next year.
Well, what if you have a number that falls in that group?
Yeah, you can still get it.
You could probably still go up and request it, but but you'll still get the call up. So it could be a situation where you get a call up and you get beer now. So.
I'd be fine with going up and requesting that and saying like, here, I'm not for results. I just want to see how much I can move through the field and would love some free beer.
That was well done by you all. That was fun to watch.
It was
fun to watch the team rally. We have a closed face group where we can go and kind of like just talk and chat, and it's like not open for public to see. And just watching you guys rally there and all of the the updates on how things are going and making sure that people are coming out to race and the strategizing, that was fun.
It really helped. We pulled in other people who would not have done cross races this year to do some races just to help the team. And
like Tonk.
Tonk
and
came out and won,
like Chris Hannell, who
really?
He came out and raced yesterday. So
never raced in cross before.
On the toughest course day, probably.
Yes, it was like the hardest.
How did he do?
This is funny.
Did he?
No, this is a funny story.
Is he ever gonna do cross again?
He's fine. Yeah, I think so. I think he has a new appreciation, but it's a funny story.
It's a cat. So he was racing the Cat 5 because he's never done a cross race before. He rolls up to the start line and he had missed the start time.
Oh.
So he rolls up to the start, and they're like, "Hey, where's our race?" And the race guys are like, "Dude, they're like 40 seconds up the road. That's your
48 seconds.
48 seconds up the road." So he was like, "Oh!" And so he just took off. He just mistimed it. You know?
So there's call ups, there's team call ups, there's beer numbers, and then everybody goes, and then 48 seconds later, there's Hannell.
There's Hannell. So we're waiting at a corner because we needed people to place in the top 3 to do well in this. That was our goal, to have not anybody worse than third counted for the team race.
So Hannell had some work to do.
So we're like there's like 3 teammates. We're all at like the pit corner, and we're trying to count to see where Hannell's at, so we can tell him as he goes by what position he's in.
And you're like 134.
We got to like 24, and we're like, where is Hannell? What is going on? And finally comes around the corner. We're like, Hannell, what are you doing? And he's like, I missed the start. And we're like, you idiot. You are the dumbest smart person I know. What are you doing? He just kept on the gas, and he ended up third.
Gotta be kidding me.
Third place.
How did he pass that many people?
Literally started behind the beer guys. And he got
Here's the thing.
There were 73 people in that race. He got third.
I don't understand.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine like 60th place? What's going through their head when Hannell passed him? Like, why is
who
is this, and how is he that far behind?
I know how fast he is. He's extremely, unbelievably talented. He's probably one of the fastest people on the team.
Yes. I was climbing with him last week, and he was comfortably putting out 421 talking to me. So
he's a great cyclist. How did he pass that many people? It's like a logistics thing.
So he passed 70 people.
The course just doesn't have enough room for him to pass that many people.
Wow.
Every time there was more than I'd say 30 feet, he was passing a couple guys. I watched him, and every time he was behind somebody and he had an opportunity, he would just gonna get up and float past him real quick. And he wasn't being a jerk about it. He was just passing very tactfully. And these people, their motors just aren't the same. So for him to kind of kick it up 20, 30 watts and just go around them, that's piece of cake for him.
Oh, yeah.
What's amazing
he's got 50 matches. Yeah. Literally, I mean, he was every probably 10 seconds putting out over 400
What's amazing
watts.
to me is that he didn't crash. He didn't have a major mechanical, and those were 2 big issues on the day. Yeah. And that's a normal thing that happens when you're starting cyclocross, is you don't know how fast to take corners. You don't know how to trust your equipment. You end up going down. You crash in weird places you wouldn't normally crash. And none of that happened.
Yeah,
he didn't do any of that.
Well, he's a good bike handler too. That's the thing. I mean,
obviously
he's naturally a very good bike handler.
Well, that just proves that he could do cyclocross and do very well in the sport if he wanted to.
Yeah. He finished 27 seconds behind first place. He almost caught that guy. So if you think about that guy, those guys out front
would have won by 30 seconds.
So much easier. He would have won so much easier. It would have been such an easier race for him had he started on time.
And I told him this: those guys out front, they didn't have all of the obstacles that you had. They didn't have to burn all the micro matches that they could pick their lines. They could do pretty much whatever they want. They just had to maintain, and you had to fight your way through all of that. Just imagine it had you caught them. I mean, you probably would have caught them in the first lap. No joke. I mean, he's just that fast. But
good job.
Impressive.
So much fun.
Good job, Dialed Cyclocross.
Yeah.
Evan, you want to backpedal?
Quick backpedal. So it was a slippery, muddy day Saturday.
Uh-oh.
And me and Cassie continued our Forest Park runs on Saturday morning.
Yes.
And it was such dense fog on this. Matt, I'm sure Matt is somebody who has frequented Forest Park. Sure. It was one of those really creepy horror movie sort of, and I was just far enough on Leaf when there weren't a lot of people around me. I was thinking in my head, I was like, if I'm going to get kidnapped and killed in Portland, this is the day and this is the time, because the visibility is 20 feet right now and I wouldn't even see him coming. A bear could attack me right now and I wouldn't see the bear until it was basically jumping at me.
Yeah, the sea lion could get you.
The sea lion could have gotten me because I wouldn't even see the ocean there in time. I would run into the ocean. The sea lion would grab me, but... It was a very slippery. When like a trail run becomes all of a sudden way harder than it should be.
Yeah,
that's what that was. I was ice skating along rocks, which was kind of fun. But also my muscles were very sore after that. So yeah.
How many miles did you get in?
Like 12.
Okay,
12 or so. Yeah.
Nice.
But I mean, I'm basically back to like barely sub normal training right now and feeling fine. But yeah, went on a ride. I love my gravel bike so much now. It's just the greatest thing ever. And I just ride it for like 4 hours every Saturday and love it. It's awesome. Great. I love that bicycle, which is now making me, now I know I have a call up for next year. I'm just going to choose the ease. I'm just going to choose whatever cross race has the longest climb in it. I'm just going to go to that one with my cross bike and hopefully get a something, because we'll at least be in the top 20. So
nice.
But yeah, outside of that, not, I saw a potential future Olympian running at Forest Park too. I'm just entering Sam Parsons, who will be running for Germany most likely. Got to see him in Forest Park. I know Matt's got a bunch of like Forest Park stores and just like random superstars you'll run into there.
Yeah, so we live in the greater Portland area, which is headquarters of Nike. And so oftentimes you'll have people from all over the world will fly in and do a meeting with Nike or whatever it is. And they always go run in Forest Park because it's like the pretty, it's actually the largest
intra-city park in America,
city
isn't it?
Park. So it's bigger than New York City's Central Park, but it's basically kind of this like mountain ridge park that goes, it kind of separates the city. So it's beautiful.
So
great
beautiful.
trails. I think around 50 miles worth of trails.
That's what I've heard. And it may actually be even more, I think. It's a lot of trail. You can get very lost at Forest Park.
You can get some miles in. Yeah,
but also a lot of people bring out their cross bikes or gravel bikes out there and do a ton of riding up on Leif Erikson. Yeah, it's a very popular biking area too, which is awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
That was basically my weekend.
Then you ran with me, and then you did some hills afterwards. How were your hills afterwards?
Good, except that it started pouring at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. My legs feel good. Like I said, I'm actually trying to like hold back my training more than push it forward right now because I feel really good. But I just need to figure out
this is technically the off season.
Yeah. So I'm more holding myself back now. I've got plans for January to really focus on the swim, but for right now, just swimming 3 times a week just to stay comfortable.
Yeah. So earmark one of those swim days for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. We need to work that into our schedule.
Yep.
Cool. Let's jump into our lead out news with our new sports guy, Champ Hepler.
Whammy!
Whammy!
What was Matt? What did you think it was originally? Because we were trying to think what was the catchphrase in Anchorman for the sports guy.
I don't remember what I said.
Kablooey. I think it was
Kablooey.
Whammy! Okay, let's see. So, in our local scene at Kruger's Cross, the Category 1-2 men, I did not stick around and watch this race.
Oh, okay.
I normally would have, but I went pretty deep in my race and needed to lay down. So I left pretty early.
Hopefully you had the van. Did you just go lay down in the van? Or you were just like, no, I'm going home?
I laid down in the van for a bit and then I just drove home.
Wow.
So yeah, I went pretty hard. Anyway, so I didn't see this race, so I don't exactly know what happened, but it was won by Josh Kelly, which is his second win of the season. And normally he wins 5 or 6 races, so it was good on him. And he tends to do better in mud, so there you go. So Josh Kelly won. Second was Max Ritzow, and third was Andrew Coe.
Okay.
In the women's 1-2 race, it was it's a new 3 new people that haven't done as well. It was won by Alexandra Burton, whom I believe is Molly Cameron's partner.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Alexandra Burton won it, and second was Jenna Lingwood, and third was Sierra Domale. So
nice work, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
So good stuff.
Absolutely.
And again, our team did really well. We had 4 winners, I think, on our team. Chris Surratt won the Clydesdale.
Sonia
Ebert won the Athena. Hayden Weirman won the Junior 1-2-3 race.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
Yeah, we had some other podiums, but yeah.
Yeah. So, good stuff. On the national level, our own Clara Hunsinger from Portland did 2 races, one on Saturday, one on Sunday at the Major Taylor Cross Cup back east. She won both races.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Let's go Pacific Northwest. Woo woo.
She won both races, so pretty cool. Also, Rebecca Faringer, we talked about her last week. She was at a different race series back east, Saturday and Sunday. She won both of those races.
She's killing it. Go back up. Go back
On
up.
the international level, Matthew Vanderpool has jumped right back into
Winning.
to cyclocross.
Not only winning, because I know his last one was close. Please tell me these ones were just like
So he
blowouts.
raced Saturday and Sunday. The Saturday race, he literally won by like 5 seconds. He barely won.
Wow.
So Easterbert, who is a guy who has been not dominating, but he's been winning most of the races in Vanderpool's absence.
Yeah.
And he gave him a run for his money.
Yeah.
And but Vanderpool still pulled it off on the Saturday race, and he came back and won on Sunday. So that's what's happening. That's what I got.
Nice work.
Champ Bailey
Good job, champ.
out.
Nice work, champ.
Put your pants back on, champ. Okay.
Anything from you, Evan? Got anything
There's,
from the triathlon running endurance
there's
world?
like nothing
This is-
from
So we're about to
that
have
world right
yeah,
now.
we're gonna have a huge block of just no news, and then there's
There's
like
nothing in
one
the
race in
running world right
December.
now?
Yeah, everything's gonna be awfully quiet on
there's
the
a,
triathlon.
there's
front
the
for a while.
Palm Springs 73 race,
But
which is like the
it's a small one.
off-season.
It's an off-season one.
Go and grab your sponsorship dollar race.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's Western Australia is next weekend.
Oh,
It's
is it?
Ironman.
Okay.
But like, yeah, there's basically it's gonna be awfully quiet.
every triathlete's in their off-season now.
Yeah,
Sounds like a good time of year, Lance. What do you think?
I know.
Great time of year.
This is a dominant cyclocross season time right now. Like, that's the only
Thank
thing to
goodness.
talk about. Cross country, but that just wrapped
Cross-country.
up.
Cross
so
country, yeah. Well, they're still,
we're going into indoor tracks coming up here
indoor
soon.
track
but
starts up. Cross country still, there's still some races and stuff,
Yeah.
kind of like championship stuff. But
Nobody cares.
Cool.
Yep, they
Well,
love it.
yeah, because this last weekend did just have like
NCAAs
NCAA
and stuff,
regionals and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. So don't worry. Next week we'll talk cross
We can talk
nationals.
NCAAs. Yeah.
We had our listener hot lap all set up, but we had somebody needing to kind of reschedule. They had some work stuff come up, Evan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
travel.
we won't have a listener hot lap this week, and we will definitely be working to bring somebody back here next week. The feedback on those has been good. People have enjoyed listening to some different perspectives, and it's kind of fun for us to get to talk to other people.
Yeah.
If you might be interested in being one of those people, please reach out to us. We would love to have you on the podcast. We'll set something up at a day and a time. Mondays around noon, if that works for you to talk.
If your friends tell you that you are way more interesting than all four of us here, bring yourself on and prove to the world that you are more interesting than us, which is a very low bar. So
Bar is
just
low.
come on.
Yeah, you can just go to our social media. Facebook's probably the easiest. Send us a direct message there with your information, and we will definitely get back to you. If you don't use the old book face, you can send us an email.
If you're under the age of 23, go send us a Snapchat. I don't know. Is that what they?
Snappy
is that
chat.
what
Snappy chat.
No.
they do? Maybe FaceTime us. I don't
No.
know.
I think TikTok is a new thing.
TikTok us. Can you TikTok somebody?
Just TikTok me.
We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't
Is
know.
that a messaging system? Send us a whammy. I don't know.
Or you can send an email to jake@dialedcycling.com, and I will definitely get in touch with you, and we'll set something up. Let's move forward. Got a topic for you guys today. Let's talk about our 2019 holiday gift-giving guide for cyclists, triathletes, and endurance athletes.
Yep.
It is that time of year again. Black
It
Friday
feels,
is
it feels
coming
a
up.
little early.
It's a little
But
early.
that's okay.
Everything
Let's do it.
Christmas
Well-
is a little early.
I know.
They're shoving stuff down our throats, and we want our people to be prepared.
Target's already got their Christmas stuff up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
be prepared. We want you to, kind of start thinking about some things that you maybe want to put on your wish list. Talk to you about some Black Friday deals that might be coming down the pipe. That's not too far off, correct?
No,
I mean,
so
it's
by the
week from-
time when this podcast comes out, it'll be a week and a half.
not even that, 8 days or 9 days
Okay.
from when this
Yeah.
podcast comes out. So start thinking about these little
I think it's
deals.
I think it's good for people to think about the Black Friday stuff because the deals are real. I mean, you can sometimes save 40,
Hot take from Matt LeGrand. The
40
deals are
the
real.
deals are real.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's 40% off. 50% off. I think a lot of the times you're like, it's just good time to buy stuff if you know you're going to need stuff in the future. You know what I mean? And you're just like, this is stuff I'm going to use eventually. This is the time to kind of pick up some of those things. So, and hopefully you have someone in your life that bikes or triathlons or whatever people do, and you can kind of do some of these things under the tree.
So let's talk about some things to consider putting on your wish list before we get into like where you can buy them and what kind of deals. What are some things that you would tell folks that come up to you and say, hey, I'm getting into triathlon. What are some stuff I should put on my wish list? Because I got people ask me what I want for Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever it is that gives you presents. Matt, you got anything?
Here's my problem is I think a lot of us are going to run into the same issue where it's like, if there's something that I want or think that I need, I'll pick it up. Like, and so it gets very hard to be like, kind of buy a gift for me because I don't need, I really feel like I don't need anything. But there's definitely things, there's big ticket items for sure for me. A lot of you guys probably know if you listen to this podcast, I had a really bad bike crash. Eventually I will need a TT bike.
Yes.
So
that's what I wanted to talk about with Matt was
Yeah.
what is on your mind TT bike wise, and what would you be willing to get talked into?
That's a big Santa ask. I'm curious too.
Well, that's the thing is it's kind of a big ask, and the answer is I don't know, because I'm pretty particular about like, okay, I want something that tests well in the wind tunnels and things like that, and it's like there's a lot of unknown stuff, and then I'm like, okay, do I want disc wheels? Do I not want disc wheels? Disc brakes, I should say, because disc wheels are different. But yeah. So there's a lot of question marks and unknowns right now currently in my mind, and I'm pretty particular about that kind of stuff. And so one of my questions to any of our listeners, if you're into this kind of like TT stuff, what do you think? Like, what are you guys, what do you feel like if you could get any bike, like what would it be? I think there's Canyon bikes are super popular right now.
I was about to say this
Canyon
Speed
bikes.
Max. Yeah.
Those are cool bikes for sure. They're not
tested.
They're not disc brake, but they're pretty.
Oh, is Canyon not disc brake?
They're all rim brake, really?
They're all
Seriously?
rim currently. I imagine that like in 2 or 3 months they'll announce something that is disc brake, right?
Yeah.
So Specialized makes an interesting bike, but it's a little weird and a little overpriced. Yeah. And so it's just like the BMC bike that you have, I think is a sweet spot where it's like configurable and disc brakes, and it's great. It's a good
love
machine.
The T-Machine. Or Time Machine, yes.
Yeah. I think Trek makes good bikes, but it's hard for me to go back to Trek because they've treated me
great bikes, terrible stems.
They have not.
Oh yeah,
treated
no, the
me very
bike's
well.
great as long as you don't put pressure on the handlebars.
Don't use the aero
Yeah.
bars.
Were you leaning on the handlebars, Matt?
You can't.
Well,
you
don't
can't
do
look,
that next
You can't
time.
look at
Yeah.
the handlebars. Don't go looking at those things. They will break on you if you look at them.
I'm sorry, I sneezed.
Yeah. And so I definitely think, that would be something that's in the back of my mind as far as like, this is something that I think I need. I mean, I need more bikes. I need a cyclocross bike.
You need M+1.
I need another road bike. I mean, I need 3 or 4 bikes. So
Matt,
I don't even have them. I don't even have a mountain bike.
How are we going to sweep the podium in Cat 5s next year with our nice call-ups if you don't have a good cyclocross
You said that you
bike?
don't have a bike?
I don't even have a mountain bike.
Oh, mountain bike. I thought you
Yeah.
said you don't have. Did you sell your Specialized, your road bike?
My road bike.
No, you still have that. So
Yeah.
gotcha.
All right.
So TT bike, something that you would
That's what's on my mind.
consider putting on your wish list. How about you? How about something that you would tell people to consider putting on their wish list?
Okay, so if you're, something that I think is practical that you should put on your wish list, that I think if people, if you have friends and family and you're not looking for like, hey Lance, buy me a bike. Something that I think is more realistic and reasonable, that I think you can use is just flat repair kit type stuff. Things like that. Like you're constantly using them. So, whether that's you're going through CO2s, you're going through tire levers, things like that, like that stuff's practical. You can give that to someone. They will thank you. They will use it. And there's some really neat little items that are kind of like CO2 / tire lever combo packs and things like that I think that are really neat.
Barfly that makes those?
Barfly makes one that's really cool. So those kind of things I think are kind of nice little gifts, and they're not huge, but they're really nice, and I think they're thoughtful gifts.
Yeah. A little tire boot. That would be good in there. Some CO2 cartridges.
Oh, yeah, those tire boots that Park Tools.
Yep,
yeah.
those are quite nice.
Anything from Park Tools. I think that company is one of those groups that they just make nice stuff. So any of my Park Tool tools, I'm always like, these are my nice little things. I love these tools.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good stuff.
Tools are an awesome gift. Yeah.
Evan, what would you tell people to put or to consider putting on their wish list?
Yeah. So I think I'll go kind of the indoor cycling route because I'm not trying to spoil anything, but I've been looking at that for somebody. So there's the and I'm looking at it right now, but there's the combination between basically the headwind, the kicker headwind.
Yeah.
So from Wahoo. Yeah.
Yes. From Wahoo, along with the I forget the name of that table, but there's the
Wahoo desk?
Their desk.
Yeah. The Wahoo desk is subtly two things that are like very important to making indoor cycling bearable. Also, because most people are using either their computer so not everybody has a TV setup, so you need something to put it on. And I remember back then I was like rigging up a stool basically to try and put it on. And something like this is so adjustable, so easy, and so much space. You could put everything that you need on there.
Yeah. I have that desk, and I got it for the reason of my rehab. There was a point in time
I remember that,
that I could get on the bike, but I couldn't sit upright because it was just too uncomfortable to ride for more than like 15 or 20 minutes. I would actually pull that thing, and I would turn the front tire even so that I could pull it even closer, and then I would basically like drape my arm in there when it was in a sling, and I would use the other arm to stabilize myself. And I'm like, oh, if I do this, then I can easily ride for an hour to an hour and a half. And then I slowly built up my tolerance from there. That thing saved my bacon. That was the only reason why I was able to get back on the trainer and start working on my fitness while I was rehabbing and recovering from being broken to a million pieces and going through the surgical process.
And it's so adjustable, which for you in that situation was perfect because you had to basically get it to an exact. I mean, it had to be at a pretty specific height for you.
Yeah, and it's nice too because when you're doing your rides, you can like put a bottle of water up there. You can put your phone up there. You can, it holds like TV remotes really nicely. I mean, there's just a lot of little things that it does. And I will actually still sometimes, if I'm just kind of tired and don't feel like putting my hands on the bars or I'm trying to do multiple things, I can actually lean on it. Or if you're working, like I'll take turns between like my hands being on the bars and I'll come back up and I can like type and I can send some messages. And for me to optimize my time, because
that for me is very cool.
I just don't have time. And sometimes you don't want to be doing everything on your phone because that's a pain in the butt too. When you're on there. It's just nice to be able to pull that in. So they're not cheap, but it's been a super functional, valuable tool for me, even though it costs a little bit more money.
Yeah,
and
they're not crazy expensive. I think they're in that $1 to $150 price range. The ones that I've seen.
Bit more. Well, if you get the one from Wahoo, I think they're closer to $200 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, gotcha.
There'll
be holiday deals.
You could build your own.
You could.
There'll be some sort of Black Friday deal though.
Yeah, and there are little knockoffs that you can get that are less expensive. They're just not quite as beefy as that one. The headwind fan that you talked about too. Mm-hmm. I never thought that I would ever spend as much money as I did on a fan. That fan is $250. That's the retail price on it. And you're like, dude, that is a fan. But it does a very, very good job. So for a couple things, it's got a very concentrated airflow. So
it's not no space.
It takes up no space. You can actually connect it to the front of that desk too. So when you push the desk forward and back, it will actually slide with it, which is kind of nice.
That's pretty cool.
But the air, it really is concentrated just on you. When you turn that thing full blast, it really blows hard. I very rarely will turn it up past halfway just because it blows so hard on you.
Yeah.
But it does a couple of things. Like you can do manual control of it. So it's just a simple thing that's connected with your phone too. So it's all Bluetooth. So I can have the app up on my phone while I'm riding. And if I want to just manually adjust it, I can just scroll it up and down and it will adjust the wind speed.
Because getting off your bike is a pain in the ass. I mean, it's just like such a pain. And so this is my problem. I have this huge fan, and it's great. It really cools you down. But it's like when you start, you don't want it on, and then when you get into the workout, you want it on, and it's super annoying.
So then there's another function where if you're wearing a Bluetooth heart rate monitor, Wahoo makes a really nice little one that goes around your arm, or you can do the basic one that goes around your chest, or any other Bluetooth one for that matter. Even the Garmin one will work in that little ecosystem. Yeah. So as your heart rate elevates, the wind speed will elevate, knowing that you're working harder and that you need to thermoregulate a little bit more. So you can start it when you're first warming up and your heart rate's really low, and you can set the parameters at which it jumps up. So when you first get started and your heart rate's really low and you're still not hot, it's barely going to be blown. As a matter of fact, you might not even feel it, but as your heart rate starts to ramp up a little bit, it starts to kick up. You start to do intervals, and that thing starts to really blow hard on you, which is kind of nice because, again, that's good thermoregulation.
Do you use that feature, or do you use the remote the most? What do you use the most?
I toggle back and forth between those.
Really?
If I'm doing like a structured workout, I will put it on heart rate mode. Knowing that it's going to like really kind of
and you're not going to want to have to adjust it in the middle of the workout. Yeah.
If I'm just doing the team ride, I will take over manually because sometimes it's like here in the Pacific Northwest, it's starting to get kind of cold out, and I just don't want that thing blowing on me any more than it has to.
Well, and the other thing is when you're on the team ride, you're talking to other people, and you sometimes want to turn the fan down. When you're talking, there's other reasons to turn the fan down. That was my other
talking point. We use that Discord app, so if that fan starts blowing over the microphone, it gets really loud and obnoxious, and everybody's like, "Who is this guy?" And then Jake has to jump in and put you on mute. So, the other function that they have on there, which is cool, but only for one particular scenario situation. If you're doing some time trialing on a flat course, it's kind of neat because you can set it up to your speed. So like the faster you're riding, the harder it blows. So it's kind of simulating like the wind blowing over you. So you kind of get that notion of I'm going fast, which is kind of neat. So it's a little bit more immersive. But if you think about it, if you're on Zwift and you're busting your butt to go up a hill, and you're just not going that fast, and your temperature and you're starting to sweat, and your thermal temperature's going up, and you're like, I need more fan, but it's not going to blow on you because you're going slow.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what you
kind
really
of
want
good for flat time trialing there, though. You can kind of get a feel for how much wind do I feel right now, which, I mean, like people can kind of, especially in the TT position, once you've been in that TT position a lot, you can almost do your own wind tunnel testing in the sense that you feel where the air is really hitting you. So you can kind of, mess around with that a little bit.
I have both the table and the fan, and I have my fan set on heart rate. I use it.
Do you?
Heart rate all the time. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that same reason. So when I'm starting out and I don't want the fan blowing on me, it's not blowing as much. But as I'm working harder, it ramps up. So it works good.
I think it's one of those things where it's like these are ultra nice products, premium stuff. But part of
the people that have everything basically.
But part of me thinks like indoor riding is getting more and more real, and we should be taking it not necessarily like taking it like a serious sport, although some people are, but just like as the roads are getting more dangerous and you have kids to get home to. I think it's one of those things where it's like I want to invest in a nice indoor setup so that I have less excuses for not riding.
Yeah, we can all agree that if we had our choice of riding outside on a road where you don't have to deal with cars, or you can ride indoors on a trainer, every time just about we're going to go with the outside stuff.
Absolutely.
Like we totally get that, and we know that riding on the trainer can suck. But if we can do anything to make it suck less, or to make it a little bit more enjoyable, and to make it more interactive, I personally, I'm going to do that. I just think it's worth it.
And especially, I mean, like if you have work hours that are during the light hours during the winter, it makes more sense safety wise, especially if you have kids, a family. You can't be. I mean, I know people who are night riders; they'll do it consistently. I'm not willing to go. I don't trust people driving cars at 9 p.m. at night. That's just about mine. I do not trust people on the road at that time.
Nope.
So. I don't care if I'm lit up like a beacon. Like I still don't trust people.
Yeah, or you can go out and ride on gravel roads, but heck, what happens if you go right out there and
at night on a gravel road?
Go down. And how are we going to find you? Like, where are you at?
Right.
Can you even reach you? So there's a lot of reasons why you just want to default to the indoor stuff. So. Mm-hmm.
But on another note, buy a gravel bike this Christmas. Seriously.
Good recommendation.
Yeah, those were good ones, Evan. Lance, is there anything that you would suggest people consider putting on their wish list?
There's a couple of things that I think are luxuries that can really make things better for you. One we've talked about on the podcast quite a bit. It's the Garmin Varia.
Yeah.
It's the radar.
Yeah.
It's a rear-facing radar so that while you're riding, you can see that there's cars coming up behind you. You can also see if they're coming really fast or at a regular pace. And it's a very bright, blinky red light on behind you as well. So
I like riding with people that have that, so I should probably get one.
Yeah, I was gonna say we want you to have one because it is helpful.
I do. I ride like David, who I ride with pretty frequently, has one.
Connect to his.
It's awesome.
Yeah, you can connect to his, and it'll just still display. Like Jake and I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so do that. Connect to his, and then fall in love and buy one.
Right. I need to.
Those things are worth their weight, and I still tell people to this day, and I still feel this way. I feel like I'm riding naked out there if I don't have one on.
Yeah.
We went on my birthday ride, and I forgot to plug the stupid thing in, and my heart about sunk. I'm like, no! So I had to
Did you connect to someone else's?
I just made sure to keep Lance close. So, yeah.
The other thing with that is if you have like a Wahoo bike computer, those are now compatible with software update. So make sure you update your firmware, and you can do stupid stuff like instead of having cars along the side, I think it's like chickens or something can go up the side instead of cars. Like small difference. Like we're not like Garmin. We're totally different. Except we're going to display cars on the side. Yeah. But yeah, you can do some fun stuff that way, and it's just good to know where cars are at all times. So
I just can't wait until those things start to interact with the cars that are out there driving, like the the autopilot cars. like automated cars.
Automated cars.
That would be fantastic if they could somehow
What
talk
is-
to each other. Like,
What is Garmin going to do in areas where chickens frequent the road? Do they have?
Well, this is
do
Wahoo.
cars? Oh, this is Wahoo.
They start
Do
looking-
cars then represent the chickens?
We
Is
don't
it
know.
reverse? Okay.
Unknown.
Somebody should message them about that. I'd be more concerned about the actual representation of cars.
I'm not even sure I got it right. I think it's chickens, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
One other thing that I
should
want
ask them.
as far as the radar goes, I would love to see Garmin combine like a cyclic kind of camera situation,
Yes.
where it's basically just all one unit, because I think they could do it where it's just like camera with memory, where it basically loops the video stuff and then have that combined with the radar and the light.
you have to think that's coming down the road. They've got their whole Verb action camera line that they could easily integrate somehow, some way into that radar.
And the difference is, there's kind of action cameras where you're going for like video quality and all this stuff like that. Okay, that's great, but like we really just want to be able to make out license plate of the car that hit us.
Yeah.
And we want that just to be like the default thing that goes on the back of our bike. I don't want 3 things on the back of my bike. And right now, that's probably going to end up being the situation where I have light, radar, and some sort of GoPro camera type thing, or Varia, not the Varia, the cyclic compute,
I'm going to say it's coming down the pipeline, and I bet you $1 it'll be here in the next year, and I bet you $1 it'll be in the next Varia radar. And I'm even going to go one step further. I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to integrate in a 360 camera, because they do have a 360 camera. And
I don't think a 360 camera makes sense for rear facing. I mean, I think they should
Why
just.
not?
Well,
what if you get hit on?
from the side or something like that.
just for total rider safety, why not?
All right, I'll bet you a beer that
You're on.
for 1 year from
Seltzer
today.
water, yeah.
No, 2 years I said, but I'll go along with the bet. I'll say yes.
1 year from
1
today.
year.
How long has it been since they came out with the latest, the Varia 2?
I don't know. It's been a while.
It's been about a year and a half.
been a year.
Yeah.
They're due for an
Yeah, 1
update.
year.
I had
year.
I had one on my bike when I got hit by a car. So that was a year and a half ago, just about.
They're due for an update. A camera would make a lot of sense. 360 camera, I don't see them doing that. But either way, if they put a camera in there, I'll be pumped and I'll buy you a beer. No
There you
problem. I'll be happy.
Come on, Garmin, don't let me down. I'm gonna call my people over there.
They're probably listening to the podcast. Put a dadgum camera in there, man. Come on, Garmin.
Yeah.
Lance, you said you had a couple things. What else you got?
The other thing that I think would be a good stocking stuffer for somebody is a little zippered waterproof pouch that you actually put in your back pocket. It's something that I use on every single ride I go on. I have just a little. I mean, it's just a little bit bigger than a credit card, or about half the size of a cell phone. It's a waterproof pouch that I put in a multi-tool and a couple of bucks in there, and like an old ID, just in case.
Sure.
You need to identify my body in the ditch. They can find it.
The
You also
reality
use a
is,
road ID for that, but yeah.
Yes, that's another good thing to have is
Yeah.
road ID
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, I think that's something that I use all the time, and it's just one of the things that sits on my things.
It's
When I
ready
go on
to
the
go.
bike, I just throw it in my pocket.
that's smart to use an old ID to throw in there, because I've got one that's just sitting in my laundry room. I'm
Right.
totally going to just do that. I mean,
I just leave it in there. Then
Yeah.
I don't take a wallet. I don't take my whole wallet when I ride.
yeah.
Yeah. But
That's good.
At least there's ID in there.
I always have my wallet with me every single ride.
Me too.
And I'm just
Really?
the cheap guy that just throws it in a Ziploc baggie.
Yeah.
So I know that works too.
But I just like the idea of having like this, this sits right here and you just grab it and
Yeah.
go. And
That's a
that
good
could have,
idea.
it could have
Definitely good
flat
idea.
repair stuff or like a tube or something, like whatever. Just have like that goes in this pocket and
Yeah.
you're good to go. So
Gotcha. What else? Anything else?
The other thing that I think would be very beneficial, especially for people who want to get faster on the bike, is consider looking at some of those Trainer Road plans.
yeah,
Or joining Trainer Road. I believe it's like $12 or $13 a month to be a part of Trainer Road.
Yeah.
And they have specific workouts that you can do, and you can do low level or mid level or high level plans depending on how much time you have, and they're structured interval type workouts specifically set for people to get faster. It's not It's not just generally to stay in shape or just to get
Yeah,
started.
like Zwift, you kind of go pick a workout.
Right.
You do the workout.
And Zwift
It's
has workouts too, which are great.
They do.
And I want to do a video where it's like Zwift versus Trainer Road, but
That's a good
Trainer
idea.
Road
Yeah.
is definitely the more structured and
Trainer-
organized between the two, just workouts wise.
Trainer Road, and they have that new calendar feature for Trainer Road,
Correct.
which means you can kind of have stuff if you go ride the road a lot and you do the workout on the road or whatever. It all syncs back in. You don't have to do everything on the trainer.
Right. That's the one thing about Trainer Road is that their workouts are built to sit on a trainer and stare at a number.
Yep.
That's the way that they're built, and I mean that is pretty hardcore focused type
Mind numbing
training.
Right.
Yes, but since they've come out with outside workouts, you can do the same workouts outside.
And it plugs in.
And they work with
Man, I'll tell you what, nothing like going on a group ride with a guy who's got to hold an
yeah.
exact wattage.
I've done that with Jake before.
Oh, boo.
I
Both
know.
of you, boo.
Well, no, that was the thing. Is like I'm out for a ride. Jake came with me, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Well, I said, "Well, actually, I'm following the specific.
I'm doing 6 by 3.5
Yeah, it
minutes at
was.
345
It was
watts.
worse than that. It was like
It was worse than
it was like 12 by 30 seconds.
Oh,
or something
God.
Like that. And I'm like, Jake, when we get to the section where I've got to do these,
I gotta
intervals,
blow
just,
red lights.
just sit behind me. Well, that's the thing with the outside workouts. You kind of wait
For
until you get to your
you,
spot.
You have to be at like Vancouver Lake, basically.
Yeah, well, there's lots of spots you can do,
Yeah.
but you have to wait to get to your spot. But I think doing a lot of those workouts for the last couple of months, I think it made a big difference in in my cyclocross
Structured
season.
workouts.
Yeah,
They
structured
work.
Workouts. Yeah.
Yeah, in Trainer Road, I think my vibe on it, and probably the way that I'll end my video, is like, if you want like structured workouts to get faster, whether you're like time trial specific person or whatever, like this is what the fast people do. Like this is kind of like this is that, and kind of having like a real structured plan.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Zwift is more social.
Well, I've done a lot of Zwift
You have.
workouts, but ask me how many Trainer World workouts I've actually done on the trainer.
I don't know, zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've done every
Nice.
one of them outside because now I have not
But this
just
is
in
good
my
for
head.
you because you had never had structure before.
No,
so that's good
correct.
for you.
It's
yeah.
like, okay,
Did you download them to your computer and then have it set up? Because you can do that. You can have
your
workouts
Garmin,
on your
yeah.
Garmin computer.
It all goes it goes right to my Garmin Edge computer.
Okay.
So
everything's set up to go through your Garmin.
Now, is it
Yeah.
a plan where you choose what you're doing, or is it just like, here's your 4-week plan?
no, you choose, and because it's cut and paste now, I mean you can move
You can move stuff around.
you can move stuff around
Which is
to
nice.
whatever day
Okay.
you want to do them.
Yeah.
So I found it like
Really
super
good.
helpful.
That calendar thing's pretty cool with the trainer because Zwift. So like I've made all of my own workouts through
Yeah.
Zwift, which is good. I mean, like
Okay.
I know how I need to structure my training, but that's like I think the Training Peaks thing's cool, or Trainer Road is cool
Yeah.
because it has a calendar that you can go into, which
have
is
stuff around
Zwift does
and
not
things.
have that
Yeah.
I know of. Does Zwift have that?
Nothing like that.
No,
I don't think so.
no. Swift just has the pre-programmed programs.
And they have great workouts on Zwift.
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
Uh,
They're great.
but-
Yeah, they're fine.
You got to
Okay.
be on your trainer to do them.
Yeah.
I mean, I make all mine custom workouts, but
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah. I personally, the workouts that are on Zwift, I think they're kind of all over the place. Some of them are a little haphazard. It's like, why did you set that up? Did you set up just because it looks cool and it sounds hard, or is it functional? And I think they kind of lose that. And I think that's where Trainer Road does a much better job of having a good form and function behind what they're doing.
There's a lot of science behind the
Yeah.
workouts they've set. Yeah.
And they have little messages too, like here's what you should be thinking
Yep.
about, when they
Yep.
click through. I guess, does Zwift have that? I don't think they do. But anyway,
They will
There's
stuff
some
will pop up
plans
occasionally say
in
you're-
Ride will tell you kind of what to think about in terms of like your cadence or your how you're holding yourself, your posture, like whether you should be standing. They'll cue you with little things like that. But
yeah, good recommendation. Good
nothing
recommendation.
better than your trainer telling you what position you should be in during a zone 5 effort. Like, make sure you're not hunching your shoulders.
yeah. All right. Do any of you guys have anything else that you would recommend people? I'll go through a couple things to finish things up, but recommend people put on their wish list for this year.
Good gloves.
Good
Yeah.
gloves.
Yeah.
Good
Yep.
shoe covers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Shoe
good
covers
in
are a
winter.
big one.
Good shoe covers.
Really, especially in the Pacific Northwest.
nice.
I have a not great pair of shoe covers. That was a terrible decision on my part.
It just
over
makes
last,
makes winter miserable.
It does.
Yeah.
Cold feet is awful. And
Yeah.
I mean, I was historically a wrap your feet in Ziploc bag or tinfoil person, but
yeah.
just you could just buy a good pair of shoe covers and save yourself the pain.
What do you think about a new helmet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I always think that you should probably have at least one backup helmet in case something does happen, because you don't want to take a wrecked helmet out. Let's say that you were okay, but you hit your helmet.
Count?
Yeah, exactly. Let's say that you go out, you have an accident, you hit your head, but you're okay, but your helmet's kind of toast. You probably shouldn't wear it, and then all of a sudden you're going to continue wearing that until you either wait for your next one to show up or you take the time to go to a bike shop. It's kind of nice to always have a new one in the quiver so that you can use that.
But if you had a crash and you have a cracked helmet, probably go see a doc to see if you got a concussion before you decide that you're okay.
I have a clean helmet and a dirty helmet.
Oh,
cross helmet, road helmet.
Well, yeah, like if I'm mountain biking or I'm riding cross, or it's raining out, or it's a little messy, I wear that helmet. And then I have another helmet if it is clean and dry and sunny. I wear that one. So I have
I have an outdoor helmet and then an indoor helmet. I'm joking. I'm completely joking.
Have you ever thought about leaving your helmet on your head? Because generally speaking, after you're done riding, you go inside and take a shower, right?
Right. Yeah.
Take your helmet into the shower with you. No joke. And when you shampoo, you can wash your helmet off, and it will clean a lot of that bacteria.
I am not
off.
going to do that, Jake.
You are a weirdo.
That's a great idea.
Done it before. Seriously.
I'm sure it's awesome. I'm
then
sure
just
it works.
clip it and hang it on the shower head to dry, and then it's clean. And it doesn't have that stench to it.
I'm a super sweaty guy. You see me after ride, I push on like the forehead of my helmet, and it just like drips all over the place.
Oh, God.
Me too.
Yeah, I do that every time.
Me too. It's gross. Yeah.
You two are disgusting.
But and I never clean my helmet. I should probably take it in the shower and
seriously
shower with
I had
it.
to clean mine this morning because it was covered in mud.
Take a shower with the old helmet on the noggin. Another one that we kind of touched on a little bit is an action camera.
Yeah.
For a bunch of reasons. It's fun to have that. For me, I like going and pulling stills from it. You've got some cool video. If you like making videos, you're into that video editing thing, you can make some cool little things. But just from a safety perspective, it's nice to have that on there in case something should go south or sideways or whatever. Someone hits you, you almost get hit, or someone starts acting a fool, because like when you ride with Matt and Evan, they're always running into these crazy people because they're a magnet.
Absolutely.
You can have video documentation of that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, when you go out on the roads, there's always mayhem out there, and to be able
Matt, we could make like a greatest hits for a YouTube video of you, greatest hits of Matt and Evan encounters out there.
Weird people like, get off
the line,
get off our roads, don't ride on the yellow line.
What are you, 13, man?
Who are you?
Why is your 9-year-old brother in the passenger?
Smoking in the side. I want more people making YouTube videos, more people that we can kind of cheer on and kind of be like, yes, do this. And I mean, there are so many like funny people making videos like in race commentary and just good stuff, and that requires an action camera.
That is what I watch when I'm on the trainer. So I hope that people continue to make good videos, or I'm going to run out of material on my indoor trainer. So
the Insta 360X or Insta 360
1X
is, okay, so that's a good camera for people to consider because it's light and small, and it looks like it's a very functional as far as you're not going to get a huge amount of time or as far as life out of it, 45 minutes or so, but the picture quality looks solid enough, and you get to kind of reframe the shot after the ride is over.
It films in 360 degrees of everything, and when you actually pull that data off the card, you can actually through their app scroll around and look at anything wherever you were at, so you can you don't miss anything. It's you see everything. However, how would you mount that to your bike? Do they make? They've got a quarter 20 on the bottom that you can.
I would use chewing gum.
Chewing gum, that works too.
No,
tape.
Wait, really? I don't have one. I don't actually have one, so that's the question. I think it's a quarter 20 mount, and so then it's gonna
probably get a quarter 20 mount that you can screw it. Well, you can screw a GoPro mount into that. And most everything for action cameras these days does have a GoPro mount that's kind of built into. Like my BMC bike has a little mount on the front of it that uses the GoPro-esque mount to put my Garmin mount on there, and then it's an auxiliary mount that's below that I actually put my my Garmin on. I could, if I had the appropriate little adapter, screw it into the Insta 360, put it on the front of my camera, and therefore I would have a Insta 360 pointed off the front of my bike.
And that's what I think you want. But I think you want actually like this is definitely going to sound funny, but like I think you want a stick and then the Insta 360 out front, because it'll figure out that there's a stick and it'll delete it from the video.
Yeah.
Which it stitches it together around the stick, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what you want, because you don't want to see that in your video, this weird stick thing sticking out, which, in all the GoPro videos, you see that. So
we'll play with one of those soon enough. We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you.
Anything else, guys? How about a power meter?
Yeah.
That's a very nice
That was
gift.
one of the things that we were gonna. Yeah, I was hoping someone was gonna bring up.
Power's getting
More
pretty
affordable.
inexpensive. Yeah, it's very affordable.
What
I mean,
direction would you tell people should go? Should they be going crank or they should be going pedal? I think hub is kind of a thing of the past now, isn't it?
Yeah, power tap.
Well,
Yeah.
some of the built-in, like here's the thing, like SRAM Red and all that, they're doing these built-in power meters, and you cannot get a lighter power meter than the new SRAM Red built-in crank one.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the lightest one on the market. If you're weight weenie, like that's a cool
It's
setup.
still kind of expensive though.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's,
super expensive.
It's also a consumable product now. It's one of those things like when your chain rings wear out, or you have to send that back in because it's all one piece.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I think that they've got a replacement program for that where you get it for a fraction of what the retail price is. But that's kind of the downside of that. But again, it's super lightweight.
I'd still say go pedal.
Pedals-
If you're
pedals
somebody
are
who doesn't
very
have,
logical.
if you look at the price tag.
Yeah,
too,
but you're still spending what, $650 bucks?
probably more.
Well,
Is it more?
It depends on
what
which
are the
one you're getting.
vectors?
I mean, so the
Vector 4 or 3S is
the Vector 3S
$650 if I'm not mistaken.
for the single. That's
For
the
the single-sided, yeah.
left-sided one. I think that Power Tap makes a pair of pedals that are a little bit cheaper potentially.
Yeah.
And those are supposedly pretty good. There's also another company, and I can't remember their name. It starts with an A. It's like Azimo or A's. I don't know. I killed the name. I'm sorry, but I can look it up and put it in show notes if we need that. But supposedly those do extremely well, very well reviewed, and those are dual power meters, so left-right power, and that's supposed to be a really good option.
So
best place to look at this stuff is DC Rainmaker's site.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
get
I think
breakdowns of
he has
everything on there.
The most detail, especially on power meters.
Yeah, if you're on a budget though and you're still looking to keep it kind of cheap, I think still for the money, I think Stages is
yeah.
probably the way to go. And that's going to be just your left crank arm, which is relatively easy to install. It's going to give you good valid data, and the price isn't going to break the bank. I mean, you can probably get into those if you play your cards right for just $200-300, depending upon what your crank set is.
Yeah. And a lot of these companies have like blemish sales and things like that, and probably Black Friday sales. Who knows?
Yep.
So
They should.
good thing to grab.
Let's jump into that Black Friday stuff. Anything that you guys know coming down the pipeline? Deals? Got any deals out there that people can be looking for on Black Friday to?
The one thing I did see, just because I got an email from them recently, because I think
that's what I've seen too.
Happens. Bike Tires Direct. They're actually a local company here in Portland, but they ship all over the world.
Yeah.
They're having a Black Friday deal on Tax Neo 2 smart trainers.
Really?
Yep. And on the Garmin Fenix 5, one of their smartwatches. Yeah. One of Garmin's smartwatches.
An older one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just noticed that those were two pretty good deals.
That Tax Neo 2 is a solid unit. That's brand new. They just came out within the last 6 weeks or so.
I think it's the best smart trainer on the market.
I'm looking at one right now.
Yeah, one. There's one.
There's one in.
I think it's the best trainer on the market, like smart trainer on the market. Although the price is the factor of
it's $1,400 MSRP. I know.
Where's the Wahoo Kickers? More like 12. Is that right?
Yeah, they're the MSRP on the Wahoo. They're top of the line. The Wahoo Kickers, $1,200.
12. Yeah. So.
But yeah, I think Bike Tires Direct is selling the Tax Neo 2 for $1,050.
Okay.
So it's like 25% off.
Which I'm still kind of scratching my head about that. I know that Garmin, and a lot of manufacturers at this time of the year, when you have a shop or a store and you sell that kind of stuff, you have to abide by what's called MAP pricing, which is an acronym for minimum advertised price, so that everybody's playing on a level playing field. You're not allowed to advertise your stuff for less than that MAP pricing. I went and actually searched through my notes because we have a team deal, and then I have the Dialed Cycling Lab. We can talk more about that later, but I now have a dealer agreement set up with him, and I'll get little things that will come down the pipeline of all right, here's stuff that we're going to relax the MAP pricing on. We're going to allow you to sell it for 15% off. Bike Tires Direct is selling it for 25% off, which is...
So how do they do that?
That's my $1 million question. I don't know. I went and looked because Lance and I were talking about this before the show, and I'm like, they must have relaxed the MAP pricing on that to allow people to post those for 25% off. I have no idea how they're able to do that.
Did you guys just uncover a 60 Minutes documentary
Maybe.
right here? Good job, Lance. You just screwed over a local company. Come on.
Sorry.
But that's a killer deal. 25% off that thing. If you're looking for the top shelf, the best of the best, you're not going to find something better
For
than
$1,000,
that.
that's a steal.
That's pretty good price. Our team will generally get about that, and I could probably make sure that other people were able to get that too if they're not supposed to be doing that. But they, like with Dialed, we do more stuff like on a relationship basis. It's not stuff that we necessarily put out there and advertise.
Doesn't the Tacx Neo 2 have like between all of your smart trainers? Isn't it some like incredible max wattage? You could basically like start a car next to this thing and it's gonna like stay stable.
I think
maybe
it might have.
I think it had, just because of the shape of it and the structure. It at least when I was watching the YouTube videos on it, they were saying something like
it might have
crazy
like
high wattage
max amount. Yeah, I think.
And stays stable and safe
I think
without
the biggest one is that Watt bike that used to be in Europe, but they're bringing it into the US. But
yeah, I know that the kicker goes up to 2,000 watts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That
high.
Neo might be a little bit. It's not enough for you. But.
No, not enough. Gonna need another 1,000 there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. On that same note, I do know that Garmin has sent this out, and I know that a lot of people will be selling the Vector pedals. We were just talking about those, which are the power meter pedals, which is what I use personally. I
have them as well.
Me too. When they work well, they had a few bumps in their initial release. There's some little things that they had issues with, but they fixed them. And Garmin has, in my opinion, one of the best customer service centers around the whole cycling community. If you call them up, something's wrong, they will take the time to either A, fix it, or B, send you a brand new whatever.
Good for them.
And they will actually even... I had a situation where I needed some of the battery door covers, and we were getting ready to go on our team's training camp this past year. Yeah. And I needed them like ASAP, and I'm like, well, we can send them to you. I'm like, well, I'm going to be down at my training camp. So they took down the address of the place that we were staying at, and they overnighted them to me there. And yeah, they just showed up there.
Good job, Garmin.
And there's another local person here who I helped get set up with a watch, and she was getting ready to go do a triathlon. I think it was just maybe this past week
when you were talking about this.
And she's like, I'm going to be doing a race this weekend and something stopped working in my watch and I don't know what to do. I need this thing and they overnighted her a brand new watch. Wow. They didn't even make her send it back or anything like that. They're like, right, here's your packing return slip to send it back, yada, 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 your RA number, here's your new watch. And she was taken care of. She was like, she made sure to like contact me and say, oh my gosh, you were so right about them. They were awesome with that. So that was kind of nice.
Good job, cool. Garmin. It's really good to hear that. I've heard, different things as far as like Garmin's customer service. And so I think it's really good to hear multiple stories about the Garmin stuff.
I've had nothing but good luck with them. I've heard people, cry and complain and bitch and moan a little bit, but
people for any company, people
yeah,
are going to complain.
Absolutely. When you're making basically these watches are little computers. There's stuff that's going to go wrong. So
we put them through the ringer too.
We put them through the ringer. Yeah.
So you've had a few problems with your watch as well, and they always took care of it. And they send you new ones
because you swim with it and click the button underwater.
Yeah. They have some small little blurb that you're like, well, you shouldn't click the buttons when you're swimming. Well, this is a swim watch. If you're going to take splits and stuff like that while you're swimming, then you're going to press the buttons. Yeah. And so I have my beef with Garmin, but I'm glad to hear that your customer experience was excellent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Any other Black Friday deals you guys want to bring up? Matt, you got anything out there?
Sure. Yeah, there's tons of them. I think that, we talked about this before the podcast, but I think pretty much any company is going to be having some sort of Black Friday deal. So look around and have, get on their kind of email list, and you'll definitely get emails about their deals. Bike companies are kind of the one exception. Bike frame companies and things like all the component companies usually have deals. From triathlon standpoint, I really like Roka is a company. I think they make good stuff.
Yep.
They're going to have, I think they're going to have 40% off on Black Friday, which is a lot. So if you need a wetsuit, I know it doesn't seem like wetsuit season, but now's the time to kind of grab that stuff. Yeah. They also have that, what do they call those? Like,
get yourself like a bunch of jammers this time of year. Like jammers or speed. Well, like from a guys and gals perspective, if you're getting any swim gear, just buy it in bulk now.
Just buy it, yeah.
Yeah, because that's stuff that you need. How many jammers do you go through in a year, Matt? What'd you say?
I have no idea. I buy the
cheapest,
really
so I
cheap.
go through a lot.
I spend about $15 on a pair of jammers. Yep. I use them until they start to fade, and I throw them right in the trash.
Yep. I probably go through 8 to 10.
Yeah,
that's
about what I do.
Probably
yeah, 8 to 10 pairs of jammers.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
$15.
The chlorine destroys those.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You get like a month or two out of them, and they're toast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
wear
happens?
mine until they're see-through, and
I was gonna say, what happens?
That's basically what I do until it's like dangerously close to causing an issue.
Right down the butt crack, they start to go see-through.
They do.
Always in the same spot on guys or girls suits. It's the same spot.
You can tell because it starts to get kind of loose.
Yeah.
It gets a little loose, and then you start to think, you're like, I'm about to commit a crime in public right now if I don't get the jammer. So
you wear it that last time, a little bit shady, and then you just throw it right.
I did have a buddy once who like literally off a dive start just shredded right down the seam line of his, and just had to walk to the holding it together, and
walk to the bathroom.
Go and
Good
handle
times.
that. Yeah.
Good times.
That sounds
call-
like Saturday afternoon.
We
for-
call that guy. We call that guy Lance No Pants.
Yeah.
Good job.
Happens in the swimming world as well as the cycling world.
Evan, what about you?
I don't know if they have a Black Friday deal, but I'm going over to the Nike store here soon with.
They do run a Black Friday deal of something
Can you,
small. You can get
double up a Black Friday
No.
with an employee discount and get it for free?
They pay you. You leave and they're paying you.
It's like, excuse me, I have 140% off this. I'm getting paid 40% for buying this. No,
That's
but
it.
I'm looking at trail shoes right now because I need a new pair of trail shoes because my trail shoes are very, 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 very old. I'm looking at the Hoka Speed Goat. I'm sure Hoka will also have a Black Friday deal. I haven't gotten an email from there yet. I'm on their email list, but I'm sure I will.
They're trying to call you to tell you that they do.
I think so, yeah.
They
Thank
will.
you,
They
Hoka.
will.
And then the Nike Zoom Pegasus Trail.
That's what I think you should go for.
Probably.
Actually, I don't know. I mean, I think you get a shoe.
I like Hoka. I
get a
love
shoe
Hoka
based
as
on
a
the fit.
company. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
shouldn't he boycott Nike right now, Evan?
God.
What are you doing on that?
Watch that Matt LeGrand video.
I this week I posted a
Not gonna
video.
boycott
Yes,
Nike.
this week I posted a video, and it was should we be buying Nike stuff? Because my girl Mary Kane had a horrible experience.
Yep.
So go check out that video on the YouTube.
Wow, that would be like one heck of a segue, like mid Black Friday deal. Just get into the most like recently controversial thing, just right off the
It was
bat.
a weird segue. It's a weird segue.
Yeah, Pegasus Trail Shoe and Nike as
Nike.
the
Should you
corporate
beware.
monster that they are. Now,
Right.
outside of that, I'm also looking at the Ultra Trail Shoe.
Ultra, yeah, that's popular. The nice white
Cool
toe
company.
box.
I like the white toe box.
So those are all
Zero
things that
drop.
Evan's looking at. We don't know if there are Black Friday deals on those.
Yeah,
Fingers
exactly.
crossed.
There will- I think there will be.
Hoka,
it depends on
Hoka
where
had
you
one
buy
last
them.
year. They had a good Black Friday deal last year, which
Gotcha.
is where I got my trail shoes from last year. But
Lance, I saw you doing a lot of research. Did you come up with anything else that would be a killer Black Friday deal coming down the pipeline?
Those are the two big things, just the Tacx Neo 2 and the Garmin Phoenix 5.
Yeah. I don't have anything particular to put on there. I don't really pay too much attention to all that stuff because I can get
Yeah.
better deals than Black Friday
Yep.
year round. But
And so can you, listener, through the Dialed Cycling Lab.
yeah,
Come hang out.
just email me. I'll make sure you're taken care of year
Yes.
round. But things that I would recommend that you do keep your eyes on would be the consumables. Those are the little things that add up over the course of the year. When you're looking at stuff like your tires, your tubes, your chains, your tire sealant, your supplements, all these things that you're constantly going through. If you go back and think about how much money you spent on, just little things like that. If you're still running tubes, like the amount of money that you can spend on tubes and CO2 cartridges, that gets pretty high.
Yeah.
It can be almost, dependent upon what you're running, it can be almost $10 each time you get a flat. You get 20 flats in a year or 15 flats in a year or even 10 flats in a year. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So if you can get yourself hooked up with a stockpile, like you can go out and buy CO2 in bulk, you can get that cheap, but then all of a sudden you get CO2 in bulk on Black Friday and get it for another 20, 30, 40% off, your money's going a lot further. Same thing with tires. A lot of times you'll hear from these manufacturers like, all right, if you buy 10 tubes, you get a Black Friday price and you save X amount of dollars. Like all of a sudden it goes from being a $10 flat down to like maybe like a $5 flat.
Yeah.
Those are ways that you can save money. Chains, another one. With Shimano, back when I was running Shimano,
Yeah.
I would go through a chain every 1,200 miles on average. That's about what I was at. And if I'm riding, 8, 9, 10,000 miles, that adds up. And those chains can be upwards of $40 or $50 a chain. That gets expensive.
And it's nice to just have one when you need
Yes.
it. So that's why buying in bulk where you like for tubes, you just have like buy a dozen and they're just sitting there and you're like, anytime you need this, it's there. Bam. You just throw it in your ride pocket.
Exactly.
The chains too are nice. I have a chain that's brand new that's ready to go whenever I need it on whichever bike because they're all Shimano. So
Yeah.
it's really nice to have that stuff stockpiled.
I think on Nash Bar, sorry, I'm just plugging in with this. I think on Nash Bar,
Yeah.
Victoria Tires actually has 25% off as their Black Friday deal.
That's an expensive tire.
Which is big because that is an expensive tire.
Yeah.
I ride Victoria's.
Yeah, I just got an email from them too. We're
from
connected with them. We get a better deal for our team through
the
them.
team.
But for somebody that doesn't have a connection or doesn't know somebody in the bike industry, that's a really good deal.
Yeah, 25% off good on those, and I know we get a killer deal, which is why I ride Victoria's. But
Yeah, that's Victoria, and they make a very fast tire for sure.
Yeah.
they do make a fast tire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still partial to the Continental. Those
Me too.
GP
I know you like
5000s
the
are
GPs,
just
yeah.
freaking money.
I was going to actually mention that on my list of like what should you get some cyclists.
I mean, if you're looking at a race
Continental,
tire, you're
yeah.
basically looking at the GP or Victoria.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're rambling on. We're getting a little long
We
here
are.
in the show.
Oof,
so
we are.
we're going to go into our own personal wish list. I'm going to run around the table, and I want you to say what it is that you are putting on your wish list, the things that you're asking Santa for Christmas. I'm going to start with Matt. Matt, how about you go and tell us?
Camera stuff. I want more lenses. I want, more camera stuff. I love camera stuff.
Santa needs specifics, Matt.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Santa doesn't work off general ideas.
Yeah. I definitely would like a lens that could have a little bit more reach. But
I got a couple you can borrow anytime
I
you want.
know. It's
No
true.
drone that you want?
I would. Yeah, sure. I want a drone
DJI
too.
shall be announcing the Mavic 3 coming out in January.
Really?
So
in January, you think?
that's what I've been told. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see. Fingers crossed. Could be wrong on that, but
Yep.
I'm in the same camp as Matt. I
love camera stuff.
Yeah.
I would get a new drone. I fly my drone all the time, and I think it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So.
I'm going to jump in here and go real quick. There's a couple things that I really want, and one's the gravel bike. I've been talking about this stupid thing. It still hasn't shipped from BMC, even though I put it in there, so it's probably going to end up landing on my Christmas list, and I'll just put a bow on it and say Happy Christmas to me.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But you know what I need? What I really want is a nice new race bag.
Really?
A race bag, yeah. I'm going to do more racing next year.
Yeah.
And the race bag that I've been using is just an old Oakley bag that somebody gave me for Christmas probably 10 years ago. I need something that's a little bit more organized. And I've seen the one from Pedal Industries.
Yeah.
Todd Brown actually owns that company, and I used to ride with him when I lived in Southern California. Yeah. But that's a nationally known brand now. He's got a really cool race bag that's got a different compartment for all the different things that you want to take on race day, and it's labeled. I'm like, God, that's perfect for my OCD.
cool.
So.
There you go.
I just use the free ones from our races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could use some more tools, and I want.
Yeah.
You know what I really like, and I'm gonna talk about this because somebody gave me a really cool birthday present that hit the nail on the head and stuff that I already was thinking about ahead of that is bike art. I love bicycle art, and Lance's wife Brandy made me this killer framed art piece. You can see it right over there on the wall. It's
wow.
She hand drew this whole thing, and it looks like it was almost computer printed, like computer aided drafting kind of CAD stuff of a bunch of bicycle parts, and then she put the Dialed Cycling logo on there in a couple spots, which it looks really sharp. So it's hanging up on the
Lance,
wall.
your wife is talented.
Yeah, and she whipped that out in like a day.
How did you land that way?
I know, seriously. What do you bring to the table,
I'm
Lance?
Lance Romance, man. What are you guys talking about?
You got the
Look
romance
at
side.
me.
You got the romance side. Look at
She
this
seems to-
handlebar
mustache.
stash.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
Clearly bring all the positives to the relationship. What do you bring?
I'm waiting for the caricature drawing of her drawing Lance with this handlebar mustache thing.
Terrible mustache.
Brandy, if you're listening.
She hates it so much.
But yeah, bike art.
All Brandy wants for Christmas is to Lance to shave this terrible mustache over here.
Evan, what's on your list?
Very specifically, the BMC ALR2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I am not riding my road bike anymore, so I need an aluminum frame road bike.
Here,
I just
watch
wanna-
this. I'm going to snap my finger.
I know.
It'll be here on Friday.
Boom! Look at that! Oh my gosh! Thank you, Santa.
Lance, what's on your birthday list? You're
What's on your
baby
birthday
Jesus
list?
over here. What's on your birthday list?
Baby Jesus.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Sweet baby-
Whammy! There's actually, I would like a better pit bike for cyclocross.
Current bike that you're riding. So basically, you're saying you want a new cross bike.
I want a new cross bike. I really like my cross bike, but
Lance, yesterday, I didn't want to get on that pit bike. I hate that bike.
I have this pit bike that it just doesn't fit me very well, and the brakes don't work very well, and so it's like for disasters. And I should have switched to it like halfway through the race yesterday, and I might have even been able to hang with those front guys longer.
Yeah.
Because my lap times got 30 seconds slower per lap because of all the mud that just kept, and so I kind of like a new cross bike.
Need a new bike.
Nah. What size you riding? 56 or 58?
Not 58. 56 is like a stretch for me on a cross bike.
Oh, what size you riding? 54?
It's like a 55 or
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's like a 54 and a half or something like that, right around 55. So anyway,
Cool.
so that's one thing. The other thing, I'd like a new iPad. Actually, I like to run Zwift on the iPad,
Oh, it works so nice.
and I have a very old iPad where the graphics don't translate very well.
Oh, no.
And it's kind of choppy. So I think it's time.
There's some screaming deals coming out. Speaking of Black Friday on those
Yeah.
2018 or whatever the latest iteration of the iPad Pro. They're constantly like knocking like hundreds of dollars off of them, and I think there's a new one coming out relatively soon. So I think Apple's probably relaxing their map pricing and letting people push out stock so that they can get rid of their own inventory as well. So
there
you go.
So does that mean? Do you think like Zwift's going to come out with some like really cool graphic engine the next couple of years where it's like
No.
You think? I mean,
Nope.
they have no reason to.
Nope.
They don't
So
want to. They don't want to limit people who can get on the
like
platform.
VR.
Well, so everything's built on top of the gaming engine, which they will not change out. Probably.
Would that be a very expensive Switch?
Yeah.
They?
You're talking about rewriting Zwift, so.
Could they write something though where maybe it's more realistic looking, and your machine will default to whatever its capacities are, and you could lay one on top of the other, and you're still doing the same thing, but what you see is different based on what kind of a machine you're using.
I could see them doing some sort of beta software where they introduce basically a whole new gaming engine piece, and then it would be easier because some of the services and stuff like that would all be in place from the current Zwift. All the stuff as far as like power-ups and all that stuff that all comes streaming from the server. That could easily be done. So the whole new engine would look totally different, the look of the game. But as far as seeing that coming down the pipeline, I don't see it coming unless they start to face some competition from someone that's basically doing exactly that. Like
there are other programs that run that kind of stuff, but it's pretty much the same route, and it just like speeds up the playback a little bit faster or slower based on how hard you're going, right?
Yeah. There are some other like indie developers that are doing cool stuff. So I could see Zwift getting pressure from someone there, but right now they're
interesting.
There's
okay.
not real.
The last gaming system I played was on the N64, so that's roughly what my expectations for graphics are, which is already wildly exceeded.
I'm going to drop a banana from Mario Kart.
It's a Mario.
Yeah, it's already wildly exceeded that. It was like jumping into the future.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, one last thing, and then we'll move into one last thing.
Okay. One last thing before the one last thing.
Yeah. Best stocking stuffers. What are the best stocking stuffers that you can think of? Like if
CO2,
Scratch shoes.
Scratch
Ooh,
shoes.
yes.
Matt, what do you got?
Can you fit like a frame pump in the stocking? I think you can.
Yeah, sure.
And
I've
people
got big stocking.
There's
Fuma
people
gels.
like a big stocking. I just think people boohoo the frame pump, but I love it. I love being able to be like, you're going to use the CO2, or you can just take an extra couple minutes and let's pump it up. Let's pump it up.
Tubes, tires.
Yeah, tubes, tires.
Energy gels.
Chains, bar tape, grips, socks. Put
Socks are a good
cycling
idea.
socks in my stocking.
Yeah.
Make me a happy
That's a
camper.
good idea.
There you go.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys.
Like it.
Jumping into one last thing, Lance, what you got?
Should I go to nationals?
Yes.
Yes.
That
Get
was
in the
fast.
adventure
It's
van.
so-
Go to nationals.
And it's close. It's
It is
so
within
close.
Why would
driving
you
distance.
not go to
and
nationals?
live stream the whole thing so I can watch it.
It's it's like 3.5 weeks away.
I'll
It
tell you what.
means-
If you go to nationals and Brandy's not going with you, I'll jump in and I'll be your pit crew.
Ooh.
Well, I would actually have
keep you warm at
teammates
night.
there who.
I would
pick
be
who
your
for me.
personal pit crew.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
I'll bring my camera. I'll videography everything. I'll picture everything. I'll be your pit crew, and I'll be everybody's pit crew. I'll go up there and help out everybody. We
Do
can
it.
throw some team
Lance
tents in
is
there.
going to nationals. All right.
That was easy.
All right.
I would totally
There you
do
go,
that. That
problem
would be a
solved.
blast. It's in freaking Tacoma.
It's in Tacoma.
It's
so close.
145 miles or 140 miles
Yeah.
from here. That's
You're
a
in
2-hour
gr- you're in
drive.
great
Let's
shape.
go.
You can train hard for 3 more weeks and be okay. Yeah.
Drove farther to do a freaking time trial this year down in Corbett. Is that where we
Right.
went? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
A
true.
time trial. Come on. This is freaking cyclocross nationals.
All right.
What would happen if you landed on the podium? And I know that you were like, oh, I don't have a chance in that, but you never know.
There's going to be
How does he sound when
150
he says
people in the race. That's right. And I'll start mid pack because I don't have a whole lot of call up points, but I mean my goal would be just to make the top 25 if that's possible.
You just go out there and hammer and have a blast. Like literally nothing to lose. You take risks all over. Who cares? Just
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah.
All right, I've been waffling on it.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're going to do it. Just
do it.
Yeah. You're going to do it. It's
Everybody's
not
out there screaming at their
Go.
MP3 device saying, yes, go. Jeez, not even a question.
Yeah. And you better come back with an awesome story too.
Just think about all the work that you've done this year and how fit you are. Like, do you think it's going to be even better next year? Hopefully, but do you know for sure?
No, you never know.
Yeah.
To get to this point, be in the shape that you're on, you're unscathed, you're healthy,
Yeah.
your race.
you've got everything that you need. You got the Hepler action adventure van that you can go up there in.
You got the handlebar mustache already.
Yes.
Don't
Nothing else will be a
That's
sweet
coming
picture. Evan, one last thing.
I watched The Art of Racing in the Rain last night. Have you guys
Really?
seen
No.
or heard of this movie?
Yes.
Where do you pull this stuff out of, man?
I'll tell you what. I'm our breath of fresh air away from the
are.
endurance community for a little bit, but it's about an F1 racer who has a dog, and the dog
It's a dog.
is
Oh.
the dog is so absurdly cute. Oh my god, the dog is amazing. It's a golden retriever.
Is this in
His
theater
name's
now,
Enzo.
or is this?
No, it's on Redbox.
It's
You
on
watch
Redbox?
it on
Okay.
Redbox.
Alright.
Everybody should Redbox this. I am not a crier. Got close. I'll tell you what. Enzo is the cutest golden retriever ever,
Okay.
and it's just God being a kid who grew up growing, with golden retrievers.
Yeah,
It was
you
rough.
need a
Tangent here,
dog.
completely off. Did you ever
man.
see that movie, A Dog's Purpose?
Yes, I did.
I watched it with my kids on our exchange student this past weekend because
Yeah.
my kids both wanted. Two of my kids were home, wanted to watch it, and they wanted to watch. The exchange student wanted to watch it as well because she'd never seen it. And again, I don't cry at movies, but that one every single time it kind of gets you right there in the
close.
throat. You feel it in the
Gets
throat,
close.
start to get a little tight. I'm like, don't do it, don't do it. Sorry,
Dogs. Something about
Tangent.
dogs.
Dogs.
Anyway.
Totally.
So what was
Yeah.
your point?
Go watch the movie.
That was my one last thing. Is everybody should go watch
Oh,
the movie.
gotcha. I thought you were going to say something random.
Oh, you thought that was
obscure
going
fact about
somewhere?
it. Yeah.
No, God, no. That was not going anywhere. That was just.
Matt Legrand, one last thing, please.
This week's video on my YouTube channel is very timely for this discussion.
You don't say.
This week's video, I'm asking 5 triathlon coaches. And the question that I have, and I'll ask, everyone basically to comment on the video and kind of give us their answer. But the question is like, what is your next triathlon related purchase? And I try to veer people away from like, don't just say like, shoes or bike tube or something simple like that. Like, what's the next like big triathlon purchase? A lot of coaches said bikes. So hop in and definitely check out that video. You can find it on youtube.com/mlegrand. I will have that posted around the same time that this podcast goes live.
Sweet.
How many subscribers are you up to now?
Probably closing over 1,000. Closing in on like 1,100 maybe. I don't know. Something
Climbing
like
the ladder.
That's a lot, Matt. I'm
is.
proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
And it's going to start growing even more now because you hit that magical 1,000 number. Like you'll start to,
that. Magical.
yeah.
Yeah,
More,
there's-
more things happen with your algorithm when
Sure.
you hit that number, right? More people will start to see you.
It's definitely that kind of, you see bigger gains and stuff like that. I mean, I remember like the first 100 subscribers are kind of like the hardest to get, and then
Sure.
it gets easier. So check it out.
Sweet.
Check out the channel.
My one last thing, we talked about this before, and I actually announced it this past week, put it out there on the social medias, is our ugly Christmas sweater ride.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Ugly Christmas sweater ride.
I love that ride.
It's going to be on December 7th.
Okay.
That is a Saturday morning at 9 a.m. It's going to be a 37-mile ride. We are going to leave from Hopworks Urban Brewery in Vancouver, Washington. We're going to ride out to Frenchman's Bar. We do a little photo op. We're going to ride back into Vancouver and stop at a little coffee shop and have ourselves a coffee to warm up. And they've got pastries and all that other fun stuff.
Which coffee shop? Do you remember the name of it?
I'm drawing a
Is
blank
it the
right
one
now.
it's in downtown Vancouver?
It
right?
used to, well, for the last 3 years, we've done it at Compass Coffee. This year, we're changing it to, Lance is looking it up right now.
Oh, okay.
Insert coffee shop name here. It's a little bit bigger. I think that it'll be a better spot for us to go to.
Good. Yeah,
more
bigger
bike,
is better.
More bike parking, if you will.
Yeah, that's good because we killed that place last year.
Yeah, last year I felt bad
we
because we had
overwhelmed
a
it.
we had a line out the door and there was other people there and it's just like
Yeah.
it was too small of a bike shop. It worked well the first year when it was 12 people or 13 people. It worked okay the 2 following years when it was like 30 then 55 people. I think if we showed up,
Ton of people last
yeah,
year.
We should be in touch. We should try and get in touch with the coffee place.
I'm on it. So
Thank you.
Yep, just to let them know, give them a heads up. They're going to get bombed.
And just to remind people that you do not necessarily have to be associated with the Dialed Triathlon or Dialed Cycling team
Or triathlon
team. This is open to anyone,
There
and it is
were-
a big group, and it is
There
not
were
a
so
fast-
many flats last year that I'm
Yeah, that's
literally
true.
going to ride my gravel bike
There you go.
this time because I do not want to flat this year.
That's actually a good idea
That's
because
my goal is to not flat.
it's a social ride
It's
too.
a
Now
social ride.
we
We
have
kind of pitched up a little bit at points.
exactly
Yeah.
for last
For
year
fun.
and the years prior. It's always once we get out close to Vancouver Lake on the flat area out there, everybody kind of drops the hammer. But we're all going to the same spot. We're stopping. We're regrouping. We're taking a group picture, and then we'll kind of
And
like
the first
casually
one
ride
to
back.
always try and drop the hammer flats because I went to the front of the group and was like, all right, we're going to start pushing, and I flatted. So if you want to be that guy to go to the front first, expect that you're going to flat.
Yeah.
It's relevant coffee.
Relevant. That's right.
Thank you.
Relevant.
Thank you, Lance.
Relevant information. there.
Whammy. Thank you.
Whammy!
And there's going to be a GoFundMe that's coming out soon. So when I posted that up, I went to GoFundMe to do the same old GoFundMe thing that we've done in years past for the money that we're going to be raising to buy the bikes for kids. And every last cent of that money that we raise goes to buying bikes and helmets and bike locks and all that other stuff. As a matter of fact, I spent more money than we raised last year. I just chipped in a few. It was only like $100, not a big deal, but I ended up footing the bill for the bike lock, so that was fine. But I went to go set that up, and now there's a feature on there with the GoFundMe and using PayPal that will let you do a nonprofit status. I'm like, oh, sweet, that's us now, because last year it was almost done. It wasn't quite there, so I wasn't able to take advantage of this. And it saves us on the credit card processing. So I think we actually save almost a full percent. No, we save a full percent. We go from 3% down to 2%, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty cool.
That is.
And I think that people can get better tax write-offs if it's set up that way. They can actually get a receipt so that it's a tax write-off because we're a nonprofit entity.
Perfect.
So I went to go set that up, and it evidently takes like a week for that stuff all to kind of go through. So I had to submit all of the information and all of our corporate stuff, or not corporate, but our nonprofit stuff through the state and IRS and whatnot. Anyhow, that will be up here very soon. We'll push that. It'll be another second wave. But there's already a lot of people, and it's just starting to come out that a lot of people are going to show up on the ride, and we're encouraging everybody to help raise this money for this. And
we should repost that video too, because there's some details about where the money's going that I think it's just important for people to see. Like, hey, this is a good thing. You should do this.
Absolutely. I'm on it. I'm going to go talk to the guy that made that video. I think he might help me out with that.
All right. We'll make it happen.
I don't know about that guy.
He's shady.
Hey, guys, that's a wrap.
That's episode 91.
91.
9 away.
9 away from 100 episodes.
9.
Still blows my mind.
Triple digits.
Go check us out on social media. Matt, where can they check us out at?
They could go to the dialedpodcast.com, and it ends up showing a nice little details about all the episodes, all the way back to episode number 1, right?
Correct.
And you can go back, you can catch up, or you can just hop in wherever, floats your boat and listen to all these podcasts. They can also email us. Info at the Dialed Podcast is probably the best place to...
At Dialed Podcast.
Info at dialedpodcast.com is probably the best place to email. And then we're also on Facebook.
Yep.
As well as Instagram. You can kind of just search for Dial Podcast and you'll find us.
Yep. Cool. Thanks for listening, you guys. Thanks for coming back. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.